got a chance to see Monkey Man tonight with Dev Patel. Let's talk about it right now. All right, everybody, thank you so much for coming back to the channel. I really appreciate it as we rant about movies and television shows and comic books, as well as the occasional board game. Again, thank you for spending time with me. I am your host, Frank Zenke. I'm an award-winning screenwriter, novelist, and comic book writer. I'm also on Amazon. If you want to check out anything that I've written, you can find everything there. Just type my name into Amazon. And on top of that, if you're a budding writer or producer or anything to that effect, I will be giving a class in a couple of weeks before I leave LA. For LA, I am doing a film in LA, which I'm going to be leaving in May. But I figured while we have the strikes, about to happen and stuff like that, before I leave, I might as well do a quick class. So I'm going to be doing a weekend class, and if you want to sign up for that, I'm only going to do 20 students, and that's it. So the description has the link to that on Eventbrite, and if you bring somebody with you, I will give you $30 off. It will be a 6-hour thing, 3 days, split up into a Friday and Saturday, 3 days, and we're going to be talking about how to write to a certain budget. It's all going to be low budget stuff. So it's how to write to a certain budget, how to schedule, how to budget, so that you can show things to your investors. And then Scott DuPont is also going to come in for a portion of that and talk about how to raise money. So if you are looking to get into film or just want some information, I will be going into depth onto how to produce and write and obviously how to finance a film. So it's going to be pretty exciting. But anyway, the link to Eventbrite is in the description below. If you bring somebody with you, again, you'll have $30 off. Just email me or hit me up so that I can give you the code and just give me the names of the people that you're bringing. And then it'll be not only on yours, but on theirs as well. All right, so let's jump into Monkey Man by Dev Patel. Now, when I say by Dev Patel, I mean the guy wrote, produced, and directed it. I mean, everything. He hyphenated across the board with this thing, which I never suggest anybody ever do. I mean, there are certain people that are good at it, like Clint Eastwood, but most people, I say, stay away from doing more than one thing, because especially if you're acting or you're directing, so anything on the creative side is very difficult to then produce, because and even acting and directing, because you have to split your mind into various things, especially on the producing side too, where you have to deal with business, which is a totally other side of the brain, and it will affect your performance, which is what you're putting yourself out to do. Now, you can produce, in the pre-production side, but once you start getting into planning your shot list, all that, make sure there's somebody else that takes over. Because if you're doing everything yourself and you're splitting yourself into too many pieces, your performance is going to suffer, and then why are you doing this in the beginning, to begin with, when your performance is going to suffer. But anyway, he did this thing across the board. I'm sure that I don't know what the budget was for this. I think he shot it 100% in India. So he probably was able to get some deals, especially if he raised money here through the studio system or something to that effect, and it took the money there. He probably was able to do quite a bit with a smaller amount of money. He is the only name. There's nobody else in there that has any name. Charlton Copley, he's done some big stuff, like he was in the A-Team. He played Murdoch in the A-Team and stuff to that effect. But I'm sure that, that guy would work for scale, if you flew him out there and stuff like that. They may have been friends for all I know. But either way, there was nobody there making $20 million for their role. And if he was producing it, he probably got paid as an actor, which he probably had to do through SAG, which is Screen Actors Guild. And then he probably didn't get paid for directing or anything like that, because I'm sure he's not Directors Guild. So anyway, they probably went non-union, depending on where they were on the budget. If they were too high, they would have had to flip. But either way, they could have gotten away with a lot of low-budget stuff. Now, on the SAG side, that's where your stunt coordinator goes. And I'm sure that probably the most biggest paid person on this thing was probably the stunt coordinator and the fight choreographer. So, because they did a good job. This is not John Wick, for sure. Although they did, I'm sure he went through a lot of training because they did hold shots where they didn't pull away from him to have a stunt guy come in. So a lot of the stuff he did his own choreography. He was doing the stunt person's portion of the stunt choreography because you could see his face, and I'm sure that they did not have money to do face replacement on a stunt guy. So hats off to him. So I don't really know a lot of his work. I remember seeing him in Hotel Mumbai, and I thought he was really good in that. Haven't seen a lot of his other stuff, but he's obviously a good actor. There's no doubt. Oh, that's right. And The Green Knight, of which I did not like. I know a lot of people liked it, and but I just wasn't one of them. I don't think it really worked. I thought it was kind of boring, and it had no action, and I was really disenfranchised from it. So this is a revenge story for sure. So it's kind of like the first John Wick, except that it's not a dog that he's going after. It is, his mother. So this gets into the little bit of the politics for India. I don't really know the hierarchy of how that works in India. But yeah, so I guess they lived in a very small village, and the village was attacked by the police department and a few other, and the main guy was giving the police department the go ahead to attack and burn down this village. And his mother was one of the casualties. He hid, and of course, as he got older, he prepared. So I can say that the movie really kind of slows down in the middle. So we get some action, going through, but you could tell that which is good acting on his part, you can tell that he was unsure of himself. And that's basically what his arc was that he was unsure of himself as a warrior, and he was easily distracted. Of course, we also saw that at the end. Easily distracted and also hesitated to pull the trigger and things to that effect. So, wow. I'm going to turn this off because that's 5 emails I just got in literally 30 seconds. So he was unsure of himself, and when he hesitated, he kind of screwed everything up. And so we saw a training montage in the middle of the film, which is strange. Normally we would see that gearing up, but we saw him fail, and now, we got to see him gear back up to go back out again. I mean, the guy takes a lot of damage. But it was, I wouldn't say it was a fun movie. It was an interesting movie. As a director, he relied on a lot of extreme close-ups. I mean, he had, eye shots, like this, cut off on top of the head. Really a lot of extreme close-ups. Shaky cam on a little bit of it. Stuff to that effect. And, the directing style was a little strange, but it was gritty. And I think that's what he was going for, that he wanted gritty. And we really didn't get into the villains too much, and I think we should have. There wasn't a whole lot of development outside of him. We knew what his motivations were. We only saw him as a child in the flashbacks. We really never got to see him, grow up or anything like that. All we see is what happened to him and his mother, and that's it. We don't know what other kind of stuff went into making him the person he was. And of course, he was training himself to fight, and that's why he wore the mask. It was because it was a gimmick that the fight club or whatever else did, was that they created characters kind of like MMA or wrestling or whatever else. They created characters and that was his thing. Of course, the mask does help him later on, where he's kind of wanted, and he's able to, kind of hide himself. So, and the dog was cool. If you're a dog person, you'll find some of those scenes good. Of course, we never see the dog again at the end, so don't bother getting too attached to it. Like, a lot of the characters you can't really get attached to because you really don't see them all that often. So there was problems with the script. A, it was too long for what it was. B, we never paid off with some of the side characters. Like, one of the villains, I think, has to do with trafficking of women, because she constantly, it's a female, and we constantly saw her almost going through a catalog, like a physical catalog of women that she was basically picking out to purchase, I would believe. And she ran, this ring of basically hookers. And and we get to see one of the ones we focus on, but there's no development for her at all. She gets one little moment, and that's it. Again, I'm not really going to go into spoilers here. And then, the guy that we see in the trailer that has, and it's not a rickshaw, it's whatever the little teeny cars that they have in India, that was also seen in Indiana Jones. And even here, you see that they're not even going as fast as the car, because the car catches up to them pretty quick. So Indiana Jones was full of it, the way that they were shooting it, where it was going so fast that they couldn't jump from one to the other and stuff like that. It was probably going like 40 miles an hour if they were lucky. So anyway, there's we get a little chase there, but the guy that owned that from the trailer, where he says the Nicki Minaj line, we don't get to see any real payoff from him. We get to see him real quick towards the end, and that's it. So again, going into it, just know not to get attached to any of these characters, because by the end you're going, what happened? What happened to these characters? What did they hook back up? There's not even a text at the end that says, here's what happened to these people. Nothing. So yeah, it wasn't great. And because they had a lot of setup and not a whole lot of payoff. It only paid off for one character, and that's it. And it ended like a traditional, action movie. So again, don't look too far into any of it. Like I can't even say this person's name. The female character is Sobita Dulapala. I don't know, but she was probably I didn't recognize anything that she did. So she probably was all, Bollywood stuff. But her acting's very good. All the acting is very good. I can't fault any of the acting anywhere on here. And Pito Bosch, he was very good too. But again, we have no payoff for any of these people. So, but this is really almost his directorial debut, because I looked him up, and Dev only had 2 shorts that he did before this. And even on the producing side, he executive produced, which means he helped bring the money in. So this is probably one of his first actual producing roles as well. But I got to say that the theaters that I walked into, even the theater I was in, was half full on a Thursday afternoon / evening. And then I walked in some of those, and they were all half full too. So again, it's probably a lower budget, and I think he's going to do very well with it, and good for him. I always try to support independent film, especially in today's day and age, where the studios and networks have gone off a cliff in a variety of ways. They really need to be humbled, and it's good to see, especially on the film side. On the television side, outside of Disney, there has been some good TV, but on the film side, these studios need to be humbled. So I'm also going to be doing a review on Shogun. That's very good, and then I'm going to do a review on 3 Body Problem. I did finish that, and I'll do a review on that as well. So on the television side, there's a lot of good stuff going on production wise, but in film, there's a whole lot of problems. So it's good to see these independents. What I really kind of liked on the on the montage thing for the training thing, he's training to fight again, and we had this drum beat throughout, and I really found that interesting. That the drummer, it wasn't just a drum beat; it was actually a drummer that was basically setting the pace for him, and I really liked that idea. I thought that was really good. And then there was towards the end there was a painting, because the whole thing had to do with this monkey god or whatever else. I don't know much about Hindu religion or anything to that effect, but there was a Hindu god that was like a monkey god called Hunanam or something like that, Hunaman, and I think that's what it is, Hunaman. And but anyway, he like ate the sun. I don't know, thinking that it was a fruit. And then the other gods took away his power. I have to look this up because I have no research on this at all. I'm just going by what the movie said. But anyway, so on the back wall, there was this huge painting of the monkey god. And I thought that was a really good, gives us that arc going on where he's embodying this monkey god. And or at least using it as a influence. So I really liked all that. So some of the visuals are very good. Of course, we've seen big city stuff before, so we really didn't get to see much of India outside of the downtown gritty side and then the forest or the jungle. We got to see very little of that. And that's it. That's really all you see. I would have preferred to have seen some more pieces of, a country that we don't really get to see in film very much. So I would have liked to have, gone. But again, he was trying to keep the location small. I get it. But even if we had a couple of flybys and stuff like that, we didn't even get any of that. Some establishing stuff. I would have liked to have seen some of that. But I think that's it for me. On a scale from 1 to 10, I'm going to give it a 7. Again, it was good, not great, but entertaining while you're sitting there. It does kind of slow down in the middle. I would have shortened it. He did take too long to get the story back moving again. But I got to go to the movies with my A-list, and then I went to check out because a little about me, I have to have peanut M&Ms when I go to the movies. I have to have them. So I went up to buy it, and I usually bring a water with me. But the guy's like, "Do you just want it for free?" I'm like, "Do I have points with my A-list?" And he's like, "No, you just have it for free." I'm like, what? I didn't know the guy. I mean, yes, I'm a patron to that theater, the AMC, so it wasn't like even an independent theater. So the guy gave me free, and then he gave me this big freaking Coke, too. I don't know what I did to warrant that, but thank you. I appreciate it. Anyway, again, that's it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Give me the thumbs up. Give me the like. Let me know what you guys think. Did you guys like it? Did you not like it? Is my opinion wrong? Is it right? Let me know how it compares to yours. Or are you going to see it at all? I do suggest seeing it just to help support, independent film, and that's always a positive. Remember too that description below has the link to my filmmaking / writing class. It's going to be on the 19th, the 20th, and the 21st. Of this month. And also we do have Myth Lords coming up. So this is the Dark Wizard of Oz expansion. But it is classic monsters. All the art is done by Mark Spears, who I think he just had something recent come out with Marvel or something like that. But I know he's done Power Rangers, he's done Spawn, he's done covers for all the big companies. So you're really going to like his artwork. I mean, you can tell just from the pictures that come up over here. He's very, very talented. And you get to play as monsters. What else do you need? But also check out some of my other videos this here. If you haven't subscribed, please do. Help me grow the channel out. And thank you again so much for watching, and you guys have a great week.